Dominica's recovery following Tropical Storm Erika described as extraordinary. The Juvenile Justice Project reaches out to the Youth Development Division. And 90 gainfully employed by the NEP in the Roseau Valley. Thank you for joining us on National Focus. I'm Kerdisha St. Louis.
And I'm Mervin Matthews. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others after this.
Think water. Think life. Water refreshes, restores, cleans, and enhances growth. Potable water is a benchmark for development. DOWASCO is serious about its mandate to ensure easy access to potable water island-wide and provide sewage services for a cleaner environment. DOWASCO is your water and sewage company.
Thanks for staying with us. Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit wants the national abattoir to be taken over by a private sector entity. The Dominica leader made the appeal as he spoke with Mervin on the focus on government and development last week. Honorable Skerrit noted that government is working with local poultry and pork farmers in the creation of model farms across the island. Young people have also been trained and provided with the necessary resources to develop their own pork and poultry farms.
Our hope is that the abattoir can be taken over by a private entity. And the government will still provide a subvention to the abattoir. But the intention of the government is not to own the abattoir and to be involved in the purchase and sale of meat, of pork and poultry. There is an opportunity now for young Dominicans who have gone to university, who have degrees in marketing, who have degrees in economics, who have degrees in finance, who have degrees in agriculture and various agriculture-related fields, who have degrees in animal science, to come together as young professionals. You understand? Come together as young professionals. The facilities are built already, so we're not asking you to fetch $13–14 million to invest in the abattoir. It is built. We would lease it to you at a peppercorn rate. We would commit ourselves to a certain amount annually to meet the operating expenses. But you'll be responsible for managing the abattoir, purchasing the meat products, and marketing the meat products to the domestic market. So here's a golden opportunity for young Dominicans to get into the private sector, get into a major investment with huge potential.
The Dominica leader has called on Dominicans to support local pork and poultry producers by purchasing local.
For the abattoir to be successful, we must demand the local chicken and the local pork. We must consume it. And so our hotels now going to make a decision at the board level and at the owner level that I will only cook local pork at my hotel. I will only cook local chicken at the hotel. A restaurant's going to make the same determination. You understand? Our personal households going to take a decision to say, look, from henceforth, I do not want imported chicken in my home. If I'm going to eat chicken, it must be local chicken. If I'm going to eat pork, it must be local pork. You can build as many abattoirs as possible. You can have thousands of birds out there in cages and so forth. But the farmers will only get to sell if we, the 71,000 people in Dominica, decide to eat what we grow. And that's why I'm appealing to us that we have to eat local and buy local, and that will certainly help us in a dramatic way, because at the end of the day, the supermarkets will buy based on on the turnover they're having.
The over $10 million facility was funded by the government of Venezuela.
Well, Kerdisha, another call by the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, for young people, especially young people, to get involved in the national abattoir. Quite apart from calling on nationals to support the abattoir. From the beginning, he has always said that he doesn't want the government to run the abattoir. And yet another call from him to the members of the private sector, young people, to get involved, possibly make a move towards owning the abattoir.
That's right, and I think it's important to know that recently graduates from the DYBT have been, given the skills to actually create these businesses. They were giving training in poultry and pork farming. So that says a lot that the Prime Minister recognizes the fact that we have the talent here in Dominica, especially from the youth, to take over this, well, we would say almost billion-dollar industry that's right here waiting to be taken over.
It's all about empowerment, and the Roosevelt Skerrit administration has always been about empowering young people, and yet another instance.
That's right.
In more news, Dominica's Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit has described Dominica's recovery following Tropical Storm Erika as extraordinary. The Dominica leader, speaking on Focus on Government and Development on Thursday last week, explained that for a small island developing state and considering the magnitude of the devastation, Dominica and its people have recovered well.
Where we were, post August 27, where we are now, as a small nation with no financial reserves, a very small economy, what we have been able to do has been extraordinary. And setting political differences aside, I think we have to be honest with ourselves that there are developed countries that have experienced less damage than us. And these countries have larger land mass, so they can move people easily and so forth. And they are still recovering 10, 15 years later. You understand? Here's a country, 98% of its GDP was washed away by Tropical Storm Erika. Major roadways washed away also. Some parts of agriculture washed away. Major tourism plants washed away. And for us to be able to, for us to have been able to be where we are now, I believe that we can only show reverence and gratitude to the Almighty Father for this.
The President's Charities Foundation has donated $60,000 to the Ministry of Education for the creation of a multi-purpose court at the Kerdisha Primary School. A check was presented to the Honorable Minister for Education, Peter Seja, from the President, His Excellency Charles Savre, on Monday. The Tropical Storm Erika subcommittee was created by the President's Charities Foundation following the storm to focus on restoration of the Koliho and Kerdisha primary schools. His Excellency Savre explained that although restoration at the school is well on its way, there was still one aspect of the school that needed attention.
The community, school, rep, village council, had expressed to us their concern about the use of the yard of the school, the forecourt and so on. And we thought, well, look, maybe we could convert that into something that would be of great benefit to the school and perhaps to the community as well, but focusing on the school children. So we decided we would convert the grounds at the front of the school into a multi-purpose court. If possible, other little incidentals which had been pointed out to us, the sanitary block and areas where the drinking fountain is, and a couple other little incidentals which the PS had pointed out to us needed to be done.
The main objective of the subcommittee was to get the students back in their classrooms by September 2016. The President's Charities Foundation collaborated with the Ministry of Education, parliamentary representatives, and the leaders of the communities to ascertain the needs of the schools. Honorable Minister for Education Peter Seja was elated by the tangible contribution by the President's Charities Foundation.
I must note here that President Savre has taken very keen interest in the works that are being undertaken at both Kerdisha and the Koliho Primary School. In fact, he has been in constant dialogue with the Ministry of Education and with me personally and my permanent secretary, all in an effort at ensuring that we can get our children back at school in a conducive learning environment. For us, as ministry, as government, we recognize that education is one of the primary pillars of our development. And in order for our children to do well, they must have a conducive learning environment.
His Excellency President Savre told the media at the ceremony that they started off with a donation of $10,000 US. Currently, the community and the Ministry of Education are well on their way to completing the project. The president also secured the money to be donated to the Operation Youthquake and the Grotto Home for the Homeless.
We set ourselves a target of $100,000 US. We've not met that target, but we've come more than halfway to the target. And we said we would take the opportunity as well to lend some support to Operation Youthquake, which seeks to provide a home away from home for children who have difficulties at home and have found themselves in some kind of problem with the law, and also the Grotto Home, which provides support for persons who are of a certain age and who are homeless. In other words, the people at the extreme end of the scale in terms of age and dependency, and the people at the lower end of the scale in terms of age, younger age, and also dependency.
Meanwhile, although the president noted that a separate donation would be made to the Qualiho Primary School, they have not been forgotten.
We were able, I think last week, to make a presentation of 58 gallons of paint to the ministry for the painting of the school. We have undertaken to replace the doors and windows at the school. We're in the process of sourcing, of finding the costing, of making a decision. All of this, of course, based on the resources available to us.
The President's Charities fundraising dinner was held on Saturday. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Introducing the Government of Dominica Internal Directory mobile app, available for download from the Google Play Store, One Mobile Market, and the Government of Dominica's website. Access to all ministries and sub-departments' phone, email and office addresses and websites. Simply select a ministry and the sub-department. You can dial directly from the app or save the numbers to your phone contacts. It's convenience at your fingertips.
Is my passport ready for pickup? Good. It really works.
Download the Government of Dominica Internal Directory mobile app today.
Welcome back. In an interview with GIS News last Thursday, the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Roseau Valley constituency, Dr. Colin McIntyre, informed that 90 individuals of his constituency are gainfully employed under the National Employment Programme. The Honourable MP commended the government for the initiative and described the NEP as a pillar project. Honourable McIntyre says after the passage of Tropical Storm Erika, the individuals employed under the NEP played an instrumental role in restoring communities of the Roseau Valley. The Honourable Minister listed a few components of the NEP for which his constituency has benefited tremendously.
We have the beautification programs, we have the Yes We Care programs, we have the school programs, tourism programs at Tito Gorge, for example, which is a site we've just put under the site that you can visit under the tourism program. And then before it was unmanned, but now we have guys who are serving as lifeguards, if you want to call them, in that area there, and they have been saving lives, and that is critical in the Trafalgar area. Recently, we had one man who has a disability. He has one limb is missing, was amputated for an accident, and I have him gainfully employed there, you know, doing certain things. He has his little, you know, prosthesis, you know, extension there. And he told me last week he was able to save a tourist's life because they were trapped in the heavy rains, or I think 2 weeks ago. And had it not been for him being there and really seeing what's happening at the waterfall coming down and starting to flood, and to shout out to the tourists and to go down there and help to get the tourists out. So in the Roseau Valley, NEP is very important for us.
Honourable McIntyre stated that the private sector in his constituency has also benefited from the National Employment Programme.
The private sector has benefited from the NEP, and the partnership we're seeing right now is what we're saying to them, those of you private sector institutions who have benefited from the NEP, we're saying to you, let's look at, you know, let's allow some of them to be graduated onto your program so we can create room for new ones to come on, and this will serve to help government.
The Honourable Member of Parliament for the Roseau Valley constituency, Dr. Colin McIntyre, describes the Roseau Valley as the energy nerve of Dominica. He made this statement while updating GIS News on the geothermal project in his constituency.
We're looking at the geothermal plant in the Roseau Valley, looking at the production well we have in the Loda area. And you know, we drilled 3 exploratory wells and we drilled a production well. The production well is ready to go, and we're looking at going it on our own, meaning the local plant will be owned by Dominica. This was critical for Dominica. You see, it's a small plant, yes, but if we can look at a mix of hydro and geo, all of course being produced in the valley. But for me and for government, we saw it critical that if we wanted to impact on reducing the cost of energy, electricity in Dominica, we had to have more control, if you want to say, of the geothermal plant.
The Honourable MP outlined that government is in the process of establishing a geothermal development unit to purchase the plant, which will reduce the cost of fuel on the island.
We are looking at establishing the sort of a geothermal development unit, not management unit anymore, a development unit where we're moving forward. We're purchasing the new plant and setting the timelines for purchasing that small plant. And we're looking at options, whether we do it, a 3.5 megawatt in the first instance, or whether we go with the 3.5 and a 3.5 and get to that thing. Because the capacity can carry in terms of generation anywhere, under 10 megawatts, which I think is significant. And then we can look at the future in terms of putting additional geothermal plants in Dominica and how we can look at that mix. So in Dominica, when you look at hydro, geo, and solar, I think, a well-organized program, I think we can really lower the cost of energy in Dominica. But we are moving very, very seriously on this plan, and it has to be owned by Dominica, has to be owned by this country.
Some objectives of this project are to improve the size and quality of the geothermal resource in the Roseau Valley. Quantity of electricity could be generated to provide a more affordable source of energy for Dominica, and earn foreign exchange by selling electricity to Guadeloupe and Martinique via interconnection with submarine cables.
And finally, this news time, the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States and the United States Agency for International Development Juvenile Justice Reform Project have donated 6 new computers to the Youth Development Division. The project was launched in Dominica in 2012 to reform and strengthen the existing juvenile justice system. At the handing over ceremony on Monday, Honorable Minister for Social Services Catherine Daniel gave some details about the project.
A very important component of the project is the equipping of youth centers, and request was made by the Youth Development Division for equipment for the Dubla Resource Center, and that's part of my constituency, and so I'm very, very happy for that aspect of it. Hence the presentation today of 6 computers and a printer to the Youth Development Division. Okay, and I hope the division will make the best use of those printers, monitoring, evaluating, and ensuring that they serve the purpose for which it's intended.
The Honorable Minister thanked the OECS USAID Juvenile Justice Reform Project for the gesture.
On behalf of the government of Dominica, I'd like to extend sincere gratitude to the OECS and USAID for this fine gesture and for assisting us in making life better for our young people who are the future of Dominica and who we want to be, contributing members of our society.
Youth Development Officer Gregory Rivera believes the donation will assist the youth to become well-rounded individuals.
We are very, very grateful to the Juvenile Justice Reform Project for accommodating us and ensuring that we have those equipment. At the Youth Development Division, what we try to do, we try to use new and creative means to engage our youth. And I'm very, very grateful to the ministry for partnering with the Youth Development Division in making this donation.
Other institutions which have benefited from the reform project are the Operation Youth Quick, the Welfare Division, Chances, the ICT Unit, and the Social Center, among others. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is up next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, travail qui prend place pour bâtir un pont neuf en York Valley. Parole ça là sorti au Parlement pour Constituency St. Joseph, Honorable Kelvin Darrow. People's Republic of China qui a financé le projet là, et puis l'argent grant.
Et puis York Valley Bridge, c'est un major project. Ça, c'est un gift nous qu'a tapé hard gouvernement China. Nous tous connaissons les rivières là, ils étaient descendus, ils étaient allés et puis bridge closure au York Valley. So actuellement, nous déjà 5 contrats pour projet ça là. Et puis le travail ni pour commencer en septembre, un projet pour York Valley. Ça c'est un poids qui n'est dealing pour monde passer. Et puis ces femmes là qui ont accès famille au la Valley là, yo keni un poids neuf le projet ça là fini.
La nouvelle département quarantine tapé service en consultant qui était en Dominique pour assister au avancé lab ailleurs. Monsieur Ran Ansem, c'est chef département quarantine de la Dominique.
Nous mettons lab là dans gens là nous ça compete à international arena. So il travaille avec lab technicien, il montre toutes ces steps là pour faire ça. Pas seulement plan quarantine, il travaille avec mon bureau standard, mon environmental health and water quality. So nous bien servons compte ça mon manger nous ka travailler ces plantes nous laisser ces plantes nous ka manger bitin lab là pour nous voyer manger pour nous tester pour mon ça assurance là ça manger à bon. So encore nous bien contents nous les remercier OECS pour projet ça là c'est un projet qui 6 mois nous qui regarder comment nous ça improve dans le lab nous.
Sinon monsieur Ansem, projet ça là autant important.
C'est important parce que comme vous savez nous c'est pays nous petit nous pas ni toutes ressources pour faire toute bagaille. Ressources là on va parler quand monde pour faire travail là ou pas jamais ni monde assez monde pour faire travail là mais si vous mettez un système en place là où tout le monde savent ça yo ka faire bien comme on dit déjà programme là même c'est pour nous garder comment nous mettre en quality infrastructure là où ka mettre bagaille bien pour des monde yo mener plan yo pour nous faire assessment ça nous qui point nous qui recorder nous qui analyser nous qui faire bien avec nous qui ba yo bon result so il pas de contamination bitin nous qui fait comment yo ka faire international Amérique Angleterre so nous ka faire bagaille dans lab là pour nous garder comment nous travaillons primaire.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
We know the dangers of losing our cool in trying situations. Often, exercising anger management is all it takes to defuse a potentially volatile situation.
Thinking before you speak is one of those methods. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to say something you'll later regret. Take a few moments to collect your thoughts before saying anything and allow others involved in the situation to do the same. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. Live streaming is now available also on our YouTube channel 24/7. 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the news production team here at GIS, I'm Mervin Matthew.
And I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.